Durham Cathedral is one of the most important Romanesque buildings that we have in the country.
Well, obviously the cathedral is the reason that Durham is here. It's been the focus of the community in Durham ever since it was built. Until Thomas à Becket was murdered, Durham was the principal place of pilgrimage in the country, and that was because of St Cuthbert. And today we get stories of people having prayers answered and what they would call miracles. There's no doubt about it.
The scale of Durham as well is absolutely enormous and hugely ambitious. It was the vision of Bishop St Calais, and the building was established or commenced building in 1093 and took about 40 years to get to a completed state.
When this was a monastic cathedral, all the walls would have been painted. The tomb behind me gives an idea of how the whole cathedral must have looked.
We've spent a lot of time over the past 5+ years working with the masonry team, for example, to build up their skills, their lime repair skills, their masonry skills, so that the work that they can do is at the highest standard.
Very few cathedrals in England still retain their own workforce, but I think it's vitally important because you build up a knowledge of the building, you build up a knowledge of its weaknesses and its strengths. So it's much easier for you to actually judge when you see a defect, how quickly you need to act. You have the skills locally, so you know the local stone, you know how to work it, you know how it's going to weather. So I think it is vitally important that we keep the own workforce in the cathedral going, and we have the memory of the place as well. We have people here who've been here over 35 years.
In the last 200 years, we've had relationships with the university in that we founded the university along with the Bishop of Durham. So we've been at the heart of the university's life as well as the wider community.
Every student that comes to Durham University starts their life here at the cathedral through a matriculation ceremony. We welcome them as they arrive and we say goodbye to them as they leave. So it's quite a deep connection. I think you can often convince yourself that somewhere like this, that does have such a long history, is almost unchanged and has always been as you see it today. And of course it hasn't. And somewhere like this has been through so many different changes, and you don't want to preserve it in aspect. It's a living, breathing building, and the people that visit and the people that are the custodians of it for whatever period of time, I think have to put their own mark on it.
Art has always played a part in the life of the cathedral as a focus for prayer, as a way of telling the Christian story for people, particularly in the Middle Ages, who couldn't read. So I think we see art as a way of expressing the faith, drawing people closer to God, and letting the art be art in its own right and speaking to people in its own way.
It isn't often that you will get the opportunity, if ever you get the opportunity as a glass artist, to make a piece of work that will go into a building that will outlive you and will be there for hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. That is really quite some pressure, but it's also really, really thrilling as an artist. I hope to be able to give something to the building which will become important, both for the visitors, but also because it's in memorial to a very special lady called Sara Pilkington.